because I got a lot of stuff going on. Positive things in my personal day-to-day life, my non-professional life. So I'm busy. I'm being pulled in a lot of directions here and there. And I was only able to do one live yesterday. I wanted to do two. I'm probably only going to be able to do one live today. I still need to upload a couple of my Stats Don't Lie videos. It's just even going into the weekend, I'm going to be out of town. I'm staying at a hotel, so I'm real busy, but I'm doing my best to stay locked in with the stream. So guys, what's up? I just uploaded last night my breakdown, analysis, and prediction of the main event in Coachella. It's a fight that, the more I looked at, the more I broke down, the less I'm convinced that it's going to be close. Like, I think that Gucci Man is going to look great. I think Gucci is kind of a level above than Jorge Chavez. It'll be a fun fight. They're both Southern California young men, 26 and 25. One has one loss, one's undefeated. If you want to see where I'm standing, if you want to see the breakdown in depth, that's on my playlist, Fight Predictions, Stats Don't Lie. I'm obviously going with Manuel Flores. I think his upside is higher. I think he brings a little bit more of that X factor. I like him. A southpaw who could punch is always fun. But Jorge Chavez is well-rounded. I'm just not quite convinced Jorge Chavez is at the level that Gucci is. I like Gucci's camp. I like Joel Diaz. I like what they bring to the table. So yeah, I like that bet a lot, actually. And the odds actually are getting closer. So money is actually coming in on Jorge Chavez because I got Manny at $1.34. He's at $1.44 now. So I like that. I think that's good for us. As you guys are checking in, let me know how everyone's going. Bit of a shout out to Money Meach. Money Meach is a Johnny Says Boxing insider. And so as you guys are on the stream, you'll see Dwayne, you'll see Goat, you see the Blue Star. They are Johnny Says Boxing insiders. They get insider information on all the betting parlays. Also access to our Discord. You guys asked for it. We finally launched it about 4 or 5 days ago. So the Discord comes with the insider group. It's a couple bucks a month. And guys, if you're active on the Discord group, shout out to Money Meach. His reference and some other you guys were texting me. We now have it segmented in the Discord. A boxing channel, an MMA channel, and then a channel specifically for our bets and our parlays to keep things organized. So, as we're growing, the Discord was growing, and it's a way to keep everything in a file. So we're looking excited. It's looking good there. And I saw Goat, you put the heavy bag video in there, which was great. Dwayne Styles, what's up, buddy? Welcome. We appreciate you here, bringing the positivity, bringing the good vibes like always. Dwayne Styles in the house. Cyndi Lauper, let's go. Come on, girls just want to have fun. Where else? DJ's in the house. Let's talk. Oh, yeah, Goat. I know you said it was at the end of your session, but, tall, rangy southpaw leading with that lead uppercut, followed up with the overhand. That's one of my favorite combos to throw in sparring, in a fight, in a boxing match. On the bag is that lead overhand. So from an orthodox stance, it's a 5-2. I know you're southpaw, so there. And then angle off. But it's one of my favorite things to throw. Where are we here? So Xander Zayas has the opportunity, guys, to become the youngest world champion in boxing. I've been saying that narrative since we covered the fight all week. It's weird that the mainstream isn't really picking up on that. I think that is an important narrative. I mean, being successful as a young person in general is a tough thing to do. Being successful as a young combat sports athlete, successful, locked in, switched on in your early 20s is definitely a rare thing. I think it should be applauded. Xander Zayas at 22 years old, if he goes in New York and beats a very tough seasoned 28-year-old Chino Garcia, he's going to be the youngest world champion. WBO is on the line. We know it's vacant. And we know, as it stands right now, the youngest champion in boxing is Brian Norman Jr. He's 24. So these are statistics. These are facts that I feel should be the main part of the storyline. We always get big-eyed when we see younger fighters become really successful, and same with older fighters. Zayas, Perez should go the distance. Yeah, guys, Chino has never been stopped. I couldn't find any tape on him even being dropped. Chino Garcia right now is 33-4. When you look at his tape, look at his losses. The only true loss in terms of a wide margin that I found was in 2020 to Carlos Ocampo. He took this fight on really short notice and lost a really wide decision. He could literally be 36-1. You mix that with his style, his aggression, but he could also fight off the back foot. He's really awkward. He doesn't, on paper, look like he does anything exceptionally well. He's not this one-punch knockout guy. He's not super explosive. He doesn't have the greatest hand speed. But in boxing, we know it's not always about all that. It's not always about having this one feared skill set. Most of the time, the best fighters in the world do a lot of things good. They do a lot of things really well. And that's what I like about Chino. Even going into fight week, I was cautious on my approach. I wasn't one of these guys to stand on the hill and say, Xander is going to wash Chino. I still don't think that. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I'm picking Xander Zayas. He's on my parlay. He's not on my lock of the week, though. So just be aware of that. I have Xander on my channel parlay. So every week I do Stats Don't Lie. I do my fight predictions and breakdowns. And then I add all of those up on a single parlay. Like last week, I hit 4 out of 5. The one loss was Zoo. This week, I have Manny, Flores. I have Xander. I'm uploading Bolog versus Gardner as we speak. That'll be up today. And I want to get to one more. I just don't know if I'm going to have time. I think I want to get to... There's some good money to be made, too. I'm seeing the book has opened up a lot of these bets, like it always does as we get closer to the weekend. So I have a 10-leg long parlay I'm putting up in the Discord after this live stream. So I do have a 10-leg. So I've already given you guys my locks of the week in the Discord. I've given you guys my upset of the week. Both of those upsets are happening in the Octagon in the UFC. I'm releasing my long parlay today, and I'm going to be releasing one more. What's up, Blue Collar? I do like Xander by decision. It's just really hard. If I'm playing the non-money line bet on Xander versus Chino, and I'm doing it logically based on what I've seen in their film, what I've seen watching them fight, I don't see Chino getting stopped. I don't think, and that's nothing. That's no shade on Xander. This is a step up. Muscle Brown in the house, run the bag up. This is a step up. At 22, I don't think Xander's a polished product yet. He's not a finished product. He still has a lot of room to develop. But like we always talk about in boxing, in certain divisions, you start out undefeated, you put together a little bit of a winning streak, and you add that you're marketable, you add that you have a country, an island behind you. Even at 22, before you know it, you're going to wake up and you're going to be in step-up fights every single fight. So this is what's happening with Zayas. Like I said, he's still not even in his physical man body yet. I think we might see Xander, before it's all said and done, fighting at 68. I know he's a big 54. He's only about 5'11". So it's not like he's the tallest, but he's not the shortest. 5'11" is a pretty stout height for 54. And when you look at the champions at 60, Adames, Alamhanale, you also have Lara, which, kudos to Lara. I mean, he's in his 40s now. My point is, watching Xander, he has a lot of room to polish with his skills and his physicality. So it's going to be a fun fight. What's up, Voorhees? So what I'm hearing from Bob Arum and Top Rank is that they are going to a new business model of, rather than being exclusive to ESPN or exclusive to one streaming network, they're going to sort of be sort of like a, dare I say, how the gypsies are, or the travelers in the UK, you know, station to station, site to site, whoever offers the highest bid, being like a more open market approach to that event contract sort of thing. That's what I heard. We'll see if it works for them. In this day and age of fights on fights on Netflix, fights on DAZN, getting exclusive deals, you'd have to think Bob Arum and his team, the powers that be at Top Rank, know what they're doing on that end. So one side looks at it's the end of ESPN. They're coming to an end. I think we should probably side on the side, that it's a new beginning. They're probably going to do things differently. If you want to evolve in anything in life, whether it's a business, your own personal growth, it's important to constantly look at ways to do things differently. Consistency is key, but if you're looking at growth, exponential growth, you always have to dissect your patterns, your systems, and develop new ways of doing things. And that's what I am sort of expecting from Top Rank. We'll see. There's a lot of boxing right now. I was getting caught up with Gary and 3D and Muscles. I was watching their live because it's 6:40 a.m. here on Thursday morning. And every morning I have a 5:30 a.m. online class that I teach online. It's a mobility / sort of, I don't want to call it yoga, but my point is I'm already up coaching. And before this live stream, I try to catch the end of Gary's. And I saw the one segment about Elijah Pierce. He's taking on Das Marinas. And it's an OTX card. And I texted Muscles about this. I texted Gary in our group. And it wasn't necessarily I'm doubting Elijah versus Daz, but Daz Marinas is a legit pro. He's a legit professional. We know what he's going to bring to the table. We've seen him at the highest level. I just am always cautious on the OTX cards. And maybe that's just my unfamiliarity, what a word, with the cards being in Australia. Living here in Sydney, OTX wasn't a thing when I left America in 2013. And so I don't know how much of that is my uncomfortability with it, but I've been burned before on some, matchmaking on OTX. So I don't want to say I put OTX in my don't bet list, but it's trending that way. And I do have Elijah on my parlay. So if Elijah loses this fight, I'm pretty sure OTX is going on my no bet list. My no bet list so far includes domestic heavyweights, gold medal Olympians not named Andy Cruz. That's on my no bet list. What else we got? Jake Paul fights, no bet list. This version of any fighter who's been retired over the age of 45, so a la Manny Pacquiao, no bet list. A la, how dare they even talk about Floyd? You guys were talking about Miguel Cotto. I'm like, no way. DJ Green adds to his no bet list women's fights. One of the only women I bet on is Gabby Fundora. And so, with confidence, right now, I'm on, you take Gabby to win by stoppage. That's been a lock lately. So I like that bet. But yeah, so I'm sure all the boys and girls who bet have your no bet list. Well, if you don't, I suggest you do. We have to have boundaries in everything we do. We just can't look at all the bets and be like, dude, I'm getting action everywhere. Yeah, so OTX, I'm flirting with putting the whole OTX promotion on my no bet list, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend. And then just like the opposite to that, there you go. Barrios is always on the no bet list. Exactly. My personal thing about Barrios is I just don't like the way he boxes. I don't like how he boxes small. Whenever a fighter has just God-given physical attributes, whether it's a really long reach or a height advantage, and they don't use those attributes, and you see that their style isn't really the most efficient or the most, we'll say, intelligent style for what their skill set presents, I don't bet on him. Barrios is one of them. Barrios fights short. I don't like it. He's 6 feet tall. He doesn't use his range. He doesn't use his length. It seems like sometimes he takes so many rounds off, or I question his focus. I don't question his intent, but I question his sort of here in the fight. So yeah, I haven't bet on Barrios since before the Abel Ramos fight. I think since probably the Tank Davis fight. So it's been a few years. I don't know if I've ever really been high on Barrios, but I respect the game. So he's a world champion, 147, world champion. We'll see what they do with him. We'll see what's up. We'll see what's up at 47. It's speaking of 47, Rohan Polanco, he's on my list. We could talk about, guys, who are we excited to see this weekend? So forget the betting. who are you excited to see, even if you weren't betting? Just get back to true blue boxing fans, because sometimes that could get lost. I never want that to get lost in my messaging here on this channel. I started this channel and I started my journey as a boxing fan as a 7-year-old. I'm 43 now. Even though we talk a lot about on these live streams betting and our picks, I never want to get the real message across, or I never want to have the real message lost about our true passion for the sport. So the fights that I really want to, that I'm going to watch, disregard if I have action on it. I'm really invested in the Gucci Manny Flores fight versus Jorge Chavez. There's narratives in that fight that are really interesting. You know, San Diego, Indio Valley, 26-25, Golden Boy. One goes about their business a little bit, you know, I don't want to say flashy, and Manny and Gucci, his nickname's Gucci. And then the other one, the orthodox fighter, is more of a chin down mentality, which I definitely respect as well. So that's an interesting matchup. That's one fight. I mean, I might pop in to see Tony Harrison. You know, Tony Harrison's a former world champion. He's on that Detroit card, on the undercard of Clarissa Shields. I'm always interested in seeing former world champions fight again. So, you know, that's a fight. Rohan Polanco, he's on my list of watching his fights every time he fights now, because there's so much buzz about Rohan being next in line as a world champion. And we just have to see, as he steps up, as he continues in his career, is he really that guy? I think boxing is one of the beautiful parts of our sport, are fighters and prospects who turn into contenders like Rohan, and then fans who are with them on that journey, going from young prospect to fringe contender to fighting for title eliminators, that sort of thing. Same thing I put right now, even though Shushu, it seems like Shushu is closer to a world title, obviously, in his journey than Rohan, but still, in my opinion, Bruce Carrington, I put right next to Rohan in terms of a lot of hype. There's a lot of his handlers who feel he's the next in line at 26. Every time Shushu fights, I tune in. I've seen him put on electrical performances. I've seen him do what he's had to do recently to get the job done. And he's fighting this week, and I'm excited. And obviously Xander versus Chino, I would be tuning into that, you know, regardless. So I was talking about this in our Discord, guys, with Bolog. Some of you guys brought up Bolog and Gardner. I'm uploading my prediction. I'm featuring that fight on my channel. I've done a Stats Don't Lie on Bolog versus Gardner. I haven't uploaded it yet. I have my prediction. A lot of you guys probably won't like my prediction, because I know a lot of the boys are picking Bolog. But these British matchups between the guys in their mid-30s versus the guys in their 20s who are trying to get to a certain level, even though I said yesterday or the day before on the live stream, this matchup reminds me of Archie Sharp versus Maxie Hughes, even though Sharp was the underdog. You have the one in the mid-30s, the one in their 20s. There's a hype behind them. You can't just sit on the film study and say one is going to win over the other. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't. I know that Reese Bolog right now is a 2-1 underdog. So when I look at it that close, and Bolog's the veteran, he's had, his record, I think he has 5 losses. He's won, I think, a handful in a row, though. He's looked good as of late. We know about Ryan Gardner. He's handed a couple prospects their only loss. Gardner's undefeated. The fight is in Gardner's hometown. You have to think about it. That does play a role, but not as big of a role as you would think in terms of the UK. We've seen fighters with homecomings who the judges gave it to the other guy. Just think about, if Josh Taylor isn't going to win a close fight, I'm talking about Eku Esimon in Scotland, you can't really say Ryan Gardner is going to get favoritism on the cards against Reese Bolog. That shouldn't be part of your logical reasoning. So, Muscle just commented, even though I'm uploading it and I've given my prediction, I'm taking Ryan Gardner. I have Gardner to beat Reese Bolog. I don't think it would be wise for us or anybody to go heavy on Gardner. Now, because I'm taking Ryan Gardner, if he loses, I expect everybody to come and clown me for it. That's the game that I play on this channel. But I'm not sitting here and telling you guys to go heavy on Gardner. I'm just doing it for the sake and the ethics of my channel. When I upload it, I'm taking Gardner, just so you know. I haven't uploaded it yet. But that's not me telling you Gardner's a lock. That's not me even telling you to bet on him. Just because I do a Stats Don't Lie video and I give you my prediction, that's not me telling you I know more than you, and that's not me telling you to bet on him. So this is me telling you, if you're not comfortable with Reese or Ryan, if you're torn, don't bet on that fight. Sometimes, guys, our best victories are the ones we don't bet on. Don't forget that. Sometimes our best wins are the bets we don't make. Muscle Brown in the house. Guys, we got a new member. Welcome, Nell. Nell, I appreciate you joining the Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. You're going to get access to the Discord. In the Discord, you're going to find all of these like-minded boxing minds, the ones with the blue stars. You're going to get to chat about boxing. You're going to see the parlays we add up, all that good stuff. Mr. Reed in the house. Don't you dare, Mr. Reed. I'll guide you. I'll do my best to guide you and be sort of a seer, but yeah. I'm not telling you I'm 100%. There's no way I'm telling you that nobody's 100%. We can talk about fights that I do feel confident at, and we'll talk about fights that I don't feel confident at. I think somebody asked about what was the question about a lock? Did somebody ask about method of victory for Xander? If I had to pick a method of victory for Xander versus Chino, like I told you, I already have Xander on the money line. I think it's gonna be a close fight. I do. I expect Chino to look better than he did against Conwell. And so I also, if we want to get fancy, I like Xander by decision. $1.71. Let's go. $1.71 is saucy. I got him at $1.76 earlier in the week. So I like that. Now, if we're talking Flores versus Chavez, I do not like predicting. Like, here's another thing you guys will know the more you hang out on my channel. When I predict a fighter to get stopped, that doesn't mean I'm hating on him, okay? Muscle Brown, you're right. Yeah, Muscle Brown and I were speaking all last week that Pacquiao fight you guys shouldn't bet on. I said at least. So when I say a fighter is going to get stopped, that's not me hating on him. That's me taking my due diligence with my film study, seeing the stylistic matchup. I think Manny Flores stops Jorge Chavez. I do. I'm confident in Manny's power. I love his backhand. I love the way how aggressive he is. So maybe I'm just sort of sometimes biased to southpaws, big punching southpaws. When I watch this tape, even though he has that loss, I don't care about that loss. When I see Flores, how his work rate, I just think he's more polished. He's sharper. I could be wrong. So if you're looking for a prop to juicing up the odds, you could already get Flores on the money line at $1.44, which is amazing. So you don't have to get fancy. If you want to get fancy, take Gucci by stoppage. We'll see what that's just if you want to get fancy. I think I'm going to get fancy. Yeah, Iman. Yeah, put your bets in the Discord, guys. So, guys, in the Discord, we have 3 separate chats in the Discord. The Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. You have boxing, MMA, and betting slips. So put all your betting slips in the betting slip hashtag. Yeah, I'm not getting a method of victory. My book's not even offering me a Gucci versus Chavez stoppage. So I'm just going to take the money. I'm just going to take the money line. Let's add a real quick parlay real quick. So I'm taking, this is just off jump. I'm pretty sure I've already added something similar to this to the group. So I got Manny Flores. Dude, right now if you take Flores on the money line, he's $1.44. Elijah Pierce, he's going to get the job done. He's fighting Dasmariñas. It's never, there's one thing with overthinking a match. There's another thing with doing your research. When I jumped on Elijah early this week, I really didn't do all my homework on Dasmariñas, and I forgot about the Filipino fighter and all the fights he had, and was like, this dude's tough, man. But I'm still confident with Elijah. Money line. I am not taking that Carl Phil fight. I saw some of you boys in my chat talking about, are you betting Carl Phil, Amir Abu Baker? Hell to the nah. Hell nah. No way. Just that's one of those fights that you add on a parlay and you don't do your homework and you hit 9 and then that one loses. Hell to the nah. I ain't betting that one. So right now, Flores, Elijah. Damn, Emiliano's odds are horrible. I like Jan Santana, man. Carlos Guerrero. Guys, that's $1.83 already. And you throw Rohan Polanco to the mix, you're already at 198. 100 gets you 98. This is, come on, let's go to work. Flores at $1.44, Elijah at $1.07, Jan Carlos Santana at $1.19, and Rohan at $1.09. I'm only doing the 10 grand because Muscles is on the chat. 10,000 gets you 10,000 back. Flores money line. Yeah, Muscle Brown. Let's go. The reason why Perez loses now to pressure fight with aggression volume. He can fight that way though. History. I mean, we've seen Chino even within the fight. This is one of the things that you can't overlook with Chino Garcia. Is if you watch the Conwell fight, we've seen him, there were moments in the fight where he was pressuring. I felt his best work, though, was allowing Conwell to guide the dance, to lead the dance, and he was countering him in the pocket. Conwell had no answers in close. That's where I was really impressed with Chino. What does that tell you about him? It shows you that he's a confident in-fighter, but it also shows you he doesn't panic, and he's always switched on here. He was countering him perfectly, and Conwell had no answers getting out of his clinch. It was interesting. I expect Xander to look electric. I'm expecting him to look amazing. And I don't know if it's something about Chino's style, the optic. You know how there's certain fighters who look, when you're watching a fighter, the optic of the athlete looks a certain way. Some fighters look sharp. It was one of the things I was impressed with Roach against Tank. I wasn't expecting Roach to look sharp. When I watch Chino, he always kind of looks a bit, dare I say, I don't want to say loose. And I'm not talking about muscle composition. Chino always, I don't know if it's, sometimes he looks like his legs aren't under him. There's something about his optic. It's like the lack of sturdiness. Or he kind of almost sometimes, especially late in that fight, Chino looked like he was ready to go. And I know he wasn't because he wasn't really hurt at all. But that sometimes is enough to sway the judges. How the optic of the fighter, how he holds himself, his body language, I guess is what I'm getting at. Sometimes Chino's body language looks less to be desired. Especially, I saw that against Conwell, and I saw that in his fight before. Make what you will of that. And then some guys just have this uttermost, really confident body language. All right, so guys, if you're in our Discord, put your parlays in our parlay chat. Put them up there, whether you've registered the parlays or not, or you have questions about them. Just the tickets. And the boxing chat is obviously all questions, boxing. There's a lot. It's an ongoing conversation. So you guys ask for the Discord. We've had it for less than a week. And the best part about that Discord is the community, but also the ability to have this ongoing chat without me moderating it. You don't need me to go live to connect. I wish I would have started the Discord earlier. To get access to the Discord, guys, the link is in the comments. It's pinned. Click that link. PJ, you are 30 minutes in. PJ, you missed, you know how these live streams go, PJ. By 30 minutes, you missed a lot. We've written 2 books by now. We've voted. We've talked about all boxing. You're almost in the zone of the Wild West where we start telling stories about crazy stuff. But what's up, PJ? Welcome to the stream. Xander by points. Might throw something on Shara and knock out Abu Dhabi. All right, we could turn a page to the UFC if you want. I don't know, man. I've never been really sold on Shara Bullet. I gotta be honest with you. So Jorge Chavez is an undefeated fighter. He's a 26-year-old from San Diego. He comes from a small camp. He you know, if you watch his interviews, I've done the film study. I've uploaded my prediction. Jorge Chavez thinks that he's going to have the better feet. He thinks he's the better boxer. He thinks he's the all-around better guy in the ring. But what he didn't address is the power and the aggression and the timing that Gucci Flores has. So I feel I really like Flores in that fight. And the money line is good value as we speak. I'm not getting options. I'm not getting options to get fancy and pick a method of victory. I gave you guys my upsets. Both of my upsets of the week are occurring in the UFC. And those odds are going down as we speak. So there's a lot of money coming back on RDR, who's fighting Whitaker. I think I love RDR to beat Whitaker, and I love Marcus McGee to beat Peter Yan. It's still about 9-1. And I wouldn't be so quick to bet against Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre Barriault comes from, you know, he's a Canadian fighter. He comes from South Florida. He's been down in the same camp. You know, the former Black Zillions. They've had like 40 different names. Samson, MMA. It's the, you know, Rumble Johnson used to be down there. It's the camp run by Henry Hooft. So Andre Barriault, they call him Power Bar for a reason. His tank is through the roof. We've seen him look exceptional. We've also seen him get flatlined before. But with Shara Bullet, you got to think their game plan, because there's a lot of big wrestlers who come from that South Florida camp. And Shara Bullet has shown us he's one-dimensional. He's a striker. He's a Dagestani striker. When you think of Dagestan, you think of Khabib Nurmagomedov in the grappling heavy style. Barriault could do both. They call him Power Bar because, like I said, when you're playing a video game, whenever you kick, I don't play video games, but allegedly there's a power bar, like a lifeline thing, to where as the fighter starts losing, the power bar goes down. They call him that because he's known for having a gas tank. And in that division, a gas tank, a lot of times in the UFC, is enough to get you over the edge. So if you're confident in Shara by stoppage, I wouldn't go too heavy on it. What's it paying? I mean, Shara by stoppage is only $1.74. You might as well sprinkle some. You might as well sprinkle something on Barriault at 5-1. Yeah, I don't know. Don't sleep on Barriault. That's all I'm telling you. I'm not betting on that fight though. I'm only betting on 2 fights in the UFC. Both are upsets. RDR to beat Whitaker, and my boy McGee to beat Peter Yan. Yeah, RDR fights Robert Whitaker. Tony Harrison fight against Diaz. You got to be cautious on. There's some fights to stay away from in boxing. Here are the fights I'm not bet. What about? Here's the fights I'm not betting on in boxing, by the way. People are going to be tempted to bet on. You think he's? I don't think so, man. You think he's going to chop those legs down? You need a. I know people. He's not a household name, but people in the regional scene, people, you know, in the southwest part of the U.S. MMA scene know about Marcus McGee. He's a nightmare. Marcus McGee is good everywhere. I think McGee beats Yan. I'm actually, if I think you guys, I think this will be McGee's coming out party. McGee's been asking for a title, like at least a title contender, a title eliminator fight forever. McGee is that dude. McGee's one of these guys who came into the UFC already ready. He came late. He didn't get a chance because Can you post in the post section? PJ, you got to join the Discord, mate. The link is, it's only a couple bucks a month. We're doing all of our, if you see the stars, hit the link in the Discord, PJ. Yeah, I think Peter Yan Shine, you know, when he was a champion, it's not the same shine. I just think in terms of where these fighters are trending, also, I like McGee. Plus, dude, 3-1 dog. Come on, dude. That's also what you have to think about. Watch McGee's style. Durable, aggressive, athletic, explosive. I know people love Jan's boxing. They love that he comes from, all those years of Tiger Muay Thai. So the leg kicks, being able to check, stand in the pocket. We'll see. We'll see if the wrestling. If you're taking Barrialt, I wouldn't get too fancy with picking the method of victory. He's already a 5-1 dog. Just take Barrialt on the money line, because the last thing you want is like anything could happen in the octagon. I know what you're thinking. You're like, Shara's not going to get stopped, but Barrialt could drown him. So logical reasoning. If you're playing the dog, why not take Barrialt by decision to juice in the odds? My pushback on that is, why get greedy when he's already a 5-1 dog? So I'm posting. So I'm 3 for 3 over the last 3 weeks in finding I still don't have a name for this bet. Last week we were talking about being like an archaeologist, trying to find the best prop bet, seeking out undiscovered territory. And 2 weeks ago we hit huge. I went heavy on Berlanga versus Shiraz not to go the distance. I got starched in the comments for taking Berlanga, but I bet like 25 bucks on a parlay for Berlanga to win. I bet 10 times more than that on the odds of Shiraz and Berlanga not to go the distance at $1.90. So my point is, there's bet. So my bet like that this week, I still don't have a title. What are we going to call this? Our lock method of victory lock. Right now, you could get Xander Zayas by decision at $1.70. You could get Xander at $1.70 by decision. 10 grand gets you 7 grand. 5 grand gets you 3,500. 1,000 gets you 700. In terms of return of investment, $1.70. You mix that with Chino never being dropped, never being stopped, being the longer fighter, rangier fighter. Chino's good on his back foot. Xander really doesn't have one-punch knockout power. I think Conwell has more power than Xander. And the thing that Chino does really well is he neutralized Conwell's strengths. He made Conwell smother all of his work by fighting him in this range. His timing is really good, too, in terms of entering and exiting. Xander by decision at $1.70. That's going to be my method of victory lock. In terms of value, I love that. So you take Xander by decision at $1.70. Let's find one more method of victory lock. But I mean, right now, Manny Flores on the money line is $1.44. So you take Gucci Man on the money line at $1.44 and Xander by decision, $2. Dude, it's $2.43. Muscles, you still on the live chat? That's insane. I'm going to put that in our PJ. I'm not posting, but you're getting it live. So PJ, you're saying that I'm not posting the parlays on the channel anymore. True. We're giving value to our insiders. If you have a couple bucks a month, PJ, support the channel, support our cause, and join our boxing Discord. I'm not trying to sell you on it, but let the boys sell you on it. The boxing Discord is only the boxing heads who do these live streams who are insiders, and you get instant access to all of the boxing heads in our group. You won't need me to mediate. But $2.43 on a 2-leg. Xander by decision, Manny on the money line. I mean, yeah, I'm loving that. I'm going to put that in the Discord. I don't know which one of you boys in our Discord went super heavy. Some of you guys are crazy. At 40 minutes in, mate, if you want to bookmark this next statement, because this is, some of you boys are crazy, mate. I didn't know how to comment in the Discord, but when I give you my upset of the week, that is not a lock. If I'm taking huge upsets like MMA at 9-1 for RDR to beat Rob, which is a big task, and McGee to beat Jan, which is a big task. Even right now, I'm saying I'm taking McGee. I'm not telling you that's a lock. Dude, Peter Yan is a former world champion. Dude, Peter Yan is a stud. Savage, some of the best hands in the sport. He could do everything. I'm just telling you my upsets that I'm picking at 9-1 for value. I'm not telling you to go heavy on that. $10 gets you 90. I put $100 on McGee and RDR. 100 will get me 900 back. So there, ultra transparency, right? One of you boys in the Discord took those two bets and put them on like a 5-leg parlay with other bets that I talked about, and you put like $500 on it. And I'm sitting there reading the ticket. I'm like, you guys are freaking insane, dude. So I didn't tell you to do that. That kind of, when I saw that parlay in our Discord, I was pissed kind of, because I'm like, this kid, I don't even know you. I don't know you personally. I don't know if you're an 18-year-old. I don't know if you're a 50-year-old, but if you win, of course we're gonna be stoked. But you just put the pressure on me now. If you're out $500, dude, you like, come on, bro. I didn't tell you to do that. And I know we make our own decisions. We're all men here. But I was shocked. It's like 500 to win like 42,000. So I'm like, holy shit, dude. Yo, Johnny Xander, yes. Muscle Brown, I think Muscle Brown, we found it. Those are my two this week. Go bigger, go broke, history ball. I'm just letting you know, risk it for the biscuit. The boys are insane. Oh, look at everybody. You guys are savages, dude. Boxing fans are savage. Kai Fly, what's up? Watch it, hit it. Yeah, I hope it hit. Landslide, I hope it hits, mate. This is why I give you my picks. But I don't want you to be like, I lost because of you. Johnny, I didn't see Conwell losing that fight like that. Kai Fly, I broke the fight down, Kai. I'm from Northeast Ohio. My roots are in Youngstown. Conwell's from Cleveland. I'm a loyalist. Conwell had a great amateur career, great pro career going in that fight. He was a 4-1 favorite. I picked Conwell winning. I picked Conwell to stop Chino. Watched the whole fight. I streamed the fight. I had Chino winning at least 3 rounds more than Conwell. What Chino did really well in terms of the optic of the scorecards was he neutralized everything Conwell was trying to do. He neutralized Conwell's attack, he neutralized Conwell's power, and more importantly, he made Conwell look one-dimensional on his entrances because Conwell didn't have a plan B. Conwell wasn't able to sort of divert from his plan of attack and go into a different gear to try to win rounds. He wasn't able to do that. So, dare I say, Conwell wasn't exposed. It wasn't a fraud check. It's just that people went in that fight not really understanding how good Chino was as a boxer. I didn't expect Chino to be that good. I didn't expect Chino to be comfortable standing in front of Conwell the whole time, not be afraid of his power, being able to smother his shots in the pocket and counter him and win rounds in that range. And so, I mean, that's why I left that fight when I saw Chino got the world title shot against Xander. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a tough fight. I think Chino, man, Breaking Bad. I don't think Zayas watches Chino at all, dude. I think this is hands down Zayas' toughest fight. I don't think Zayas has fought a guy like Chino yet. I mean, you could go to Patrick Teixeira a couple fights ago, but make what you will on that. Yeah, I hope we all hit the bag too, boxing fan. Guys, let's like this video. 12 likes is depressing. 12 likes is depressing. 46 people watching. Yeah, y'all fools. Like the video. Subscribe as well. I gotta force feed you. It's like when I was a kid. All my baby pictures, from like before you could walk. All my baby pictures are my mom holding me or my dad forcing food into my mouth because they're like, you wouldn't eat it all. We had to force feed you everything. That's like me trying to get you boys to like this live stream. I'm trying to force feed you. I appreciate you, Aaron. Appreciate you. This fight is closer to Sosa than Tex. Conwell had a shit. Yep, top-notch Canna. I agree. Yeah, top-notch. We see it. It's all good, Breaking Bad. Breaking, do you have a channel too? I'll show you some love as well. Dropped my full preview on the fight of March. All right, Breaking. Send me a message. I'll follow you back. Guys, this is the way I run my business, the way I run my YouTube. You guys see, you come over to Instagram, I'll follow you back. If you're content creators and you're trying to build your boxing channel, tell me. I'll follow you back and I'll shout you out. All right. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you, brother. Conwell couldn't box. Yeah, you know, Kai, another take-home point for me, Kai Fly, with Conwell's offense is that we never saw any other gears in terms when you're looking at a puncher and how they engage in the pocket. At the world level, you expect your fighter to have multiple entrances into the pocket, whether it's a head feint, whether it's a foot feint, whether it's a jab, whether it's a double jab, whether you know what I mean, an angle, maybe high guard enter. Conwell only had one entrance the entire time. Conwell would just enter the pocket the same way, over punch, smother his shots, get stuck there, and spend the entire rest of the round with his head on the wrong side of Chino. He never once went from here because he kept trying to land the big hook over the top, and it wasn't working because Chino's body positioning. So rather than taking the head on the left side of Chino's body, he never went to the right, where on the right side, he could have worked the body and then come up top. There were no adjustments. It was insane. How do I get that head movement? Dwayne, Dwayne, I started boxing, some movement patterns as a 7-year-old, but I started coaching it. I fell back in love with the sport when I was 30. So I'm 43 now. So since 30, you know, some of my favorite boxers were defensive guys. I love Pernell Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker is one of my favorite boxers of all time. But also when you watch Arturo Gatti, when you watch people only remember Gotti for the wars he was in with Mickey Ward, and they remember Gotti as a blood and guts, a life and death fighter. When I remember Arturo Gatti, I remember his boxing, mate. Look at Gotti, the best example of this. Look at Arturo in the first round of the first Mickey Ward fight. Arturo he had some of the most beautiful boxing. I'm talking on his toes, his head movement, being able to slip, punch, counter. Arturo was gorgeous, mate. Arturo could have, if he would, I'm glad he didn't. His legacy wouldn't have been the same. But Gotti could have went about his career a total different trajectory if he wanted to, based on his skill set as a boxer. He could have he could have been really hard to hit if he wanted to. But Gotti, but Gotti just had a dog. He had that innate inside of him to want to mix it up. So in that first round against Ward, he's not only moving. Notice when Gotti enters the pocket, he's in Ward's strike zone, in his wheelhouse. And we know Mickey Ward is famous for his body punches. So what Gotti would do also, to answer your question, Dwayne, with his head, Gotti wouldn't enter the pocket when he's in the strike. He wouldn't be here. Gotti would use his head towards Ward's chest and be here, below Ward's punching. And Gotti would be here. So it's something that I always admired about Gotti, where the defensive movement patterns he would do that nobody ever talked about. So as a kid, you know, in 2002, I'm 20, so I wasn't, I mean, I'm 43 now. But it was something that my favorite things about Gotti were probably things that people, I don't want to say overlooked, but never talk about. him fighting on his toes, him jabbing and moving, how he would enter the pocket, how he would defensively box in the pocket with his hands down and use his head movement, and he would use it to counter. So he would, force you and bait you into throwing over that. And obviously his opponents didn't always miss. Ward started landing, I think, in the third round. But the first round, 1 and 2, Ward couldn't even touch him. And then in round, I think 6, who was in his corner? Damn it. Was it Crunk? It wasn't Emmanuel Stewart was commentating. It's going to burn me. I can't. His corner is screaming at him, Arturo, box. Box, Arturo. Stop fighting. Buddy McGurk. Damn it. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Vega. That's why I love my chat, dude. You boys always keep me aligned. Yeah. So, obviously, Gotti fought Mayweather. Didn't look good against Floyd. Floyd was... Yeah, it's a bad matchup, mate. I mean, come on. What do you do? It's Floyd Mayweather. I mean, I wish that fight would have happened a little bit earlier. Arturo cut a bunch of weight. There's no excuse. Floyd is world class. Come on, man. Floyd's an all-time great. Is he the best ever? I don't think so. Is Floyd an all-time great? Of course. Was Floyd one of my favorite boxers as a kid? Yep. I like Pretty Boy Floyd than Money Mayweather, to be honest with you. I remember Floyd in 96, so I was 14. 1996, I'm 14 years old. It was a big year for me because I was a freshman in high school, and the Olympics were in Atlanta, and Floyd was on that Olympic team with Nathan Jones. Nathan Jones was, I think, our last heavyweight medalist. Nathan Jones in 96 won a bronze medal. I'm pretty sure maybe he didn't medal. I think he medaled in 96, and then it wasn't until Deontay Wilder medaled. You guys have to fact check me on that if I'm getting my facts straight. But that 96 Olympic team, Floyd was on, and when he was going from amateurs to pros, to the pro ranks, we all heard about him. We knew about him. So I remember watching, and Floyd, mate, was a big puncher. Coming out of the amateurs, watch young Floyd Mayweather, how he would box. Super aggressive. That's why it's not a fair comparison to compare Shakur to Floyd. They're not alike at all. Defensively minded, but Floyd was a goddamn predator on offense. Floyd was always looking to hurt you. Floyd, aggressive. Even when he turned into Money Mayweather and, he overcame the hand injuries and had to adjust his style, he still was aggressive, mate. He still had this chip on his shoulder. Floyd would bring this attitude into the ring like he was better than you. He was better than your family. He was better than your fans. He was better than everybody in the ring. He was better than all of his haters. And as a kid who was an athlete, I like that about him. You can make what you will or judge him for what he did outside the ring. Obviously, any man who puts his finger on a woman is scum of the earth, in my opinion. So we could get controversial if we want. So I'm not saying you have to respect everything he does as a man, or how he flaunts everything. But as a fighter, as a boxer, what he meant for the sport, the things he was able to do, the lineage he came from as well, coming from Detroit, Kronk boxing, watching his father, watching his uncle growing up in the gym. Yeah, one of the best. Yeah, I mean, a prime Floyd stops Tank in 3 rounds. 100%. It's not even a question. You put Floyd in his prime, he stops Tank Davis in 3 rounds, mate. And I'm sorry to you Tank fans. That's just exactly what happens. Is Virgil Ortiz beating? But, mate, Thomas Piercy, it's a great question, dude. I was on the YSN's live stream. I was commenting on it a couple days ago. Them boys are from Philly, so I understand they love Boots. I'm a Boots fan, but they love Boots. That YSN channel loves. They're talking like Boots is the best boxer ever. They're talking Boots doesn't lose at 47. Dude was saying he doesn't lose at 54. Dude was saying he doesn't lose at 60. I'm like, y'all, you guys are wild. And I like Jerron. I think he's a great boxer. I think Virgil, mate, I think Virgil would give him all he could handle. Yeah, Greg Hackett. Yeah, Hackett is hilarious. Hackett is the best. Hackett's the most confident. Let's see something real quick. Greg is funny, by no means. Greg Hackett is the first guy I heard Auntie Sco from. So I never heard anybody refer to Kid Schofield's dad as Auntie Sco until Greg. It's hard for me to not use it. It is hilarious. So Greg Hackett is the most confident. He was a pro. He had 4 wins. He had 24 losses. He was 4-24. You know, he's a lot of people, a lot of boxers. But he's the most confident 4-20. That's my point. He's the most confident 4-24 guy I've ever met, I've ever seen talk. I know of world champions who've had, you know, a couple bad losses who aren't as confident as Greg Hackett, which is insane. Greg Hackett, 4-24, baby boo-boo. He has 4 wins, 24 losses. He walks around like he is a multiple division world champion. But I still like him. I don't know if Bakram beats Virgil, man. Look, here, this is going to be a hot take. I need to see more of Bakram. I mean, what can we take from Bakram? The fight before Tim, he didn't look good. And he's not the youngest guy. I think Virgil, if that fight happened tomorrow, I would take Virgil over Bakram. I got to be honest with you. If that fight happened tomorrow, I would take Virgil Ortiz over Bakram. If that fight happened tomorrow, I would probably take Virgil over Boots. You guys got to understand, Virgil Ortiz, dude. He's not only an engine for days. He's durable. He's a brutal body puncher. Think about this. Think about the body work when we're talking about Bakram, we're talking about Virgil. I don't know why, like, you know, Texas kid, ticks all the boxes, you know, seems like an awesome dude outside the ring. Virgil Ortiz is a monster, dude. I would take, like I said, in a tournament right now, I would take Virgil over Boots. I would take Virgil over Bakram. I'd like to see Boots versus Bakram. I'm not 100% sold on the Bakram narrative. I'm not sold on Bakram being the boogeyman. I'm not. I'm just saying. It was a great win. Bakram looked. It was a great win against Tim. Nothing to say against Tim. Tom Piercy, is Xander overrated? Thomas, I think I wouldn't say Xander's overrated. There's nothing overrated about a 22-year-old kid. There's nothing overrated about him. All he's done is win. If anything, depending on how he looks against Chino, I would say Xander's probably underrated. I think people kind of shade Xander a lot just because, you know, the popularity he has, how he is on the mic. He's young, like I talked about it a couple live streams ago, what he looks like, physically gifted. He looks like he could be a model if he wanted to. So people in the fight community will look for things to tear down rather than build up. I think I always side on the side of building up a fighter. I think there's so much upside to Xander. If he beats Chino, he is the youngest world champion in boxing. What is overrated about that? What is overrated about that? So yeah, so I'm thinking Xander's probably underrated. 22 years old. I mean, how old's Bruce? And I'm a Carrington fan. Isn't Carrington 28? If we're playing that game, Shushu's what, 28? He might be 29. Or maybe I'm tripping. Am I getting that wrong? Is Shushu 26? How old is Shushu? Yeah, Shushu's 28. So when we're talking about, and I'm not trying to say Shushu's overrated, but you know, I think he stepped away from the sport. He had some time off. I definitely wouldn't classify Xander as being overrated at all. I don't even think that the mainstream media talks about him. I posted him on my Instagram. I got so many DMs about who is this. Granted, I live in Australia. I got so many DMs about who is this dude because I put, if Xander wins on Saturday, Maurice, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't think Xander gets the love he should. Properly rated is probably good. Thomas, fair. We'll see the hype train though. If he goes in and stops Chino, we'll see that hype train. I am not betting on Phil versus Abu Bakr. You crazy? I talked about it earlier. I am not betting on Phil versus Abu Bakr. That's one of those fights where the boys are trying to get you to bet on, like they're dangling over your eyes with the odds. $1.42, $1.39. Hell to the no! I ain't betting on that punk ass fight. Isn't that a domestic fight on the UK card? and the UK card is a domestic fight in itself. So we got to have our rules and boundaries. Domestic fights I shy away from. I think some of our best victories will be fights we don't bet on. Yeah, landslide. Guys, I got to end this. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to be uploading Bolog versus Ryan Gardner. I got a really, really busy next few days. So I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be in and out of hotels. I'm going to do my best to get on a live stream again today. We'll see if that happens. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm definitely going to be live tomorrow morning. And so if you haven't already, like Mr. Reed, you guys see him, Mr. Reed has the blue star. Click the link that's pinned in the comments. It's our Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. You get access to our Discord. That's where you'll see all the gambling advice. You'll see our parlays, our bets, our money lines, all, and more importantly, you become part of the community. This chat is continued in our Discord. So other than that, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you're taking any of the bets, you know, I wish us all luck. And I'll talk to you boys soon.